Welcome to the webinar about managing a project or managing a tool. Probably there's not one answer to it, and probably we both need to manage a project and we also need to manage a tool. I don't think there's any project that is executed without any kind of tool. The biggest competitor ever is probably Excel. And today we're going to look into the project management toolbox to see how project management tools can support a project manager throughout the life cycle of a project. If we are talking about resource management, risk management, scheduling, these kind of things. So welcome again. The session will be recorded and available for you. So let's kick it off like this. First of all, I want to introduce you to different perspectives of different nature of projects, because with different nature of projects, we will also understand need of different tools. First of all, when we look at the portfolio management by design, projects are always in a context to a portfolio. There is a strategy in the company. There is a strong governance around the strategy to fulfill the perspective and to the direction of the company. That means that management will govern which projects will be started and what projects should not be started. They will need to either put money to the bottom line for the management team and for the financial statement. It could be driven by customer-driven projects, but it could also definitely be internal projects. And talking about different kinds of projects, we will also talk about different kinds of methodologies and also different kind of tool set to support it. First of all, I can be a project manager for billable projects. In Projectum, we create billable projects every day. Every time we create a project for one of our customers, it will end up by being revenue driven, and we want to bill and invoice the effort because there's a customer and we want to earn the money. In Projectum, we also have internal projects. That might be an HR initiative about taking a company trip to Riga. So the entire Projectum team will go to Riga just in, I think in 14 days, mid-September, on a company trip. That's an internal project, and this one is business case driven. We don't invoice this project, but definitely I need to manage it as an HR project manager. So business case driven projects are often created and documented by a business case, meaning that we also need a tool with a business case. Rather talking about revenue driven billable projects, it's definitely not a business case. It's more, what is the benefit of it? What is the earnings? And what is actually the money that we can create on it? In Projectum, as an example, we also have products. Today, we're going to see Power PPM. We're going to see Team Planner for resource management, and we're going to see some AI capabilities. Those are products. So many companies out there, they actually have products, and those products are driven by projects. So you might be a project manager or product manager. Sometimes a product manager is a project manager, but common sense for products, they are business case driven. Every product are only made because we can justify that we have a business case around it. Talking about those three nature of projects and a project manager, we will also look into how those projects are managed. Well, have a billable projects in Projectum, we will create a project team, and that project team will drive the project together with the project manager. So we will have collaboration between the project manager and project team. If we have internal projects, we will also use project teams. But as an example, in Projectum, when we do products, our products are digital, so digital products. And when we create digital products, we have product teams. So instead of having mixed teams from different departments, we actually have fixed teams, agile teams actually, for product. And that gives some different needs for managing in a tool. So as a product manager or product manager, having agile teams, I'll be looking into features like Microsoft DevOps, Jira, Kanban boards, rather than having a billable project, which could be some more traditional flavored with a Gantt chart, with a risk matrix, etc. So have the picture that today we're going to talk about three different nature of projects. You might have one or more of them in your company, but the tool sets around it might be different. And I'm going to show how we can make agile tools easy to use for more agile-driven projects, but we still have also the traditional flavored projects where we still have Gantt charts and more structured resource management approach around it. So every project can have traditional execution. It could have a hybrid execution on agile execution. Talking about hybrid execution, probably we will have a stage gate model. We will have a Gantt chart with a lot of tasks. And at some point, when we come to the execution phase, maybe we go agile. We create a sprint or two. And those sprint or two there may be synchronized with a Jira or DevOps, an agile tool set where the developers is actually working, if we're talking about software development at least. So it's really important to understand which of those three silos should be supported by tools and which kind of methodologies are actually connected to it. 80% of all our customers, they are probably around business case driven projects with a hybrid execution mode. Every time we create data in those three silos, we create a lot of data, and those data should be available for everyone, for the project manager for a status report, or for the PMO for reporting. When we have all those data from the projects, we can enable artificial intelligence. So Microsoft has also created AI capabilities, and we're looking at those today also. Every time we have a project, there might be a need for tracking the hours. As a project manager, the need of tracking hours could be diverse. If it's an internal business case driven project, I will need the hours to track the performance of my project and maybe to capitalize my project on the finance statement. Where if I have billable projects, time management and tracking of hours is important because I want to invoice at the end of the day. So it might be different reasons for having time management, resource management across those three silos. Talking about the resource management, every company might be 30 people, might be 200 people. We have companies using resource management up to 5,000 and 8,000 employees. We want to manage our human capital so that we have the right people for the right project, so that the project manager could ask for resources and get the resources at the right time with the right skill sets. And then management, they care about the scenario planning, because if we have a strategy for the company and we have projects to drive our change of company, it might be a growth perspective, it might be a transformation perspective, it might be an operational perspective of our company. Then we might have different projects. But at the end of the day, we would like to have some scenarios. Those projects with this performance, what does it actually support our company strategy, and how does it actually fulfill our company direction? So this framework about portfolio management is really important to understand. And today we're going to be both in billable projects that is more business case driven, the billable and the internal, but also showcase some agile flavored activities around products and digital products. Talking about the features that we're looking for. We might be looking for traditional project, agile, or the hybrid in between. We might be looking for program management. Some project managers are also program managers. They just have more projects related to each other. Then we can enable program management. We will have different portfolios, and we will have the strategy at top. Most important for the entire framework is that with the tool set that is provided by Projectum, our apps that is created for PPM, for project portfolio management, it will be possible for project managers to work, but it will also be possible for portfolio managers and strategy officer, people working on with finance. There are different capabilities in the tool. Today, we're going to zoom in on the project management capabilities and forget the portfolio, forget the strategy for a second, and focusing on what of the Projectum toolset will actually support a project manager. Today, I have highlighted this with green. So I will tell you a little about product management, the digital product management, where I, as a project manager / product manager, will manage different epics. I will run it through my Epic Kanban board, and I will send it off to Jira or DevOps. I will let my project team work on it in an agile flavored methodology. And then I will monitor the performance from the agile tools. But I will also show you more traditional project management, where we will have risk management and resource management around. And you can see all the boxes here. We will be looking into stakeholder matrices, document management dependencies, but you also see the box of AI. And In Projectum, we have infused project management with AI, and today you're going to see different use cases where AI has been applicable. Talking about the Microsoft technology platform, Office 365 is where we are. So we will be looking at the tool set in Office 365, and we will also look at the Power Platform, where we have created the Power app called Power PPM, which is the project management tool. We will look at Copilot today, and we will also look about AI Builder, which is capabilities from Microsoft that actually support the AI journey. I will create a business case today. I'm going to show how I can import actual invoices from SAP directly into my project, so it's easy for me as a project manager, not going to SAP or another line of business system, but be in my project and actually look at the performance of my project where I have imported actual hours into my business case. So connect us to line of business systems like Microsoft DevOps and SAP will be shown today. And then with the blue boxes. In Projectum, we created those 6 different apps that support project management. We have the Power PPM, that's what you're going to see today, the project portfolio management system where I can create projects and manage projects. But you will also see a sneak peek of Team Planner, which is the resource management tool where I, as a project manager, can request resources. And the line organization, they will actually, with a resource planner or head of a department responsible for different resources, they can do an allocation back to my project based on their availability so that I know which individual people I can actually have added to my project and can support my project execution. Then you're going to see Presented. Presented is the dream tool for all project managers. Once we have data in our project, by push of a button, I can create a status report in PowerPoint, saved on Microsoft Teams, so I can share it with my project stakeholders in your PowerPoint format. And then latest, we have Power Hub. Power Hub is the historical data engine. Every time we create a change of data in our projects, we will snapshot the historical information and store it. And that means that over time, I can go back with status reports and see what is the difference of the performance of my project month by month, or how often we delayed milestones in my project, and have a map of all the changes of milestones or key deliverables that has been postponed in my project. Before we start, I will just introduce you to the AI and Microsoft, because I'm going to show you some AI capabilities today. And just so that you know what we're talking about. Step 1, we can show customer GPTs. So on Azure OpenAI, it will be possible to work with customer GPTs. I will show you a chatbot, meaning I can go into a chat. It will actually be Copilot that will drive this chatbot experience. And you probably already know it from working with OpenAI and with those chatbots on the web. And then I'm going to show you in-app AI boosters. So Microsoft created the AI Builder. And the differences between AI Builder and Copilot is that AI Builder is put into the process. So if I'm about to create a status report, then I can create and customize an AI builder that will support me in the process of creating that status report with a pre-prompt, etc. Today, we're going to focus 90% on the AI Builder and a little on the Copilot. I've created different use cases that I'm going to go through. So you're going to see an AI use case where AI will help me create a project schedule and the breakdown structure for my project. I will simply prompt, please create a project schedule for an IT infrastructure project, something about PMI methodology, use stages, etc. And then the AI Builder will actually create that project schedule for me. And then I can change it. We'll be looking at risk analysis. I can make AI create my risk register. You're going to see status reporting. I can ask Power PPM to create a status report driven by AI, and then I can go in and then I can change in it afterwards. I'll also show you a use case of lessons learned. Everyone knows driving a project, lessons learned is really important. Often we see customers recording a lot of lessons learned when the project is done, and it's not used afterwards because it's stored somewhere in a Word document or in a SharePoint list. And as a project manager, when I start a new project, I simply don't go to those kind of list or document and read them through. Why not have AI help the project manager, looking through all lessons learned, and based on my new project, give me a proposal of what I need to take care of. And then we have transcription. Imagine that you have a project team meeting in Microsoft Teams. You meet up with your project team, and the transcription of that Microsoft team meeting, what you discussed, will be transcribed just like we are in a Microsoft team meeting right now, and it's also being transcribed. That transcription can be pulled into your project. And if you discuss risks, my risk register can be filled out automatically with the risk that we discussed. So watch out in the future when you say something in a meeting about, I have a risk, because afterwards you will own it in a tool. So why not go live, and why not go into Projectum Power PPM and look how Power PPM can support a project manager throughout the work with projects. If you have any question, please add them to the chat. Afterwards, when I'm done, we will look through the chat and answer any questions. So feel free to put in answers into the chat. First of all, talking about AI Copilot. What is Copilot, and how can Copilot actually help project managers? I've been a Google kind of guy for the last 15 years. Every time I open my browser, I start with Google. Now, the last 1.5 years, I gave the chance to AI, and then I opened up the OpenAI capabilities, and I used also in my projects AI and OpenAI. But the dangers about using AI with my project is that if I start type something in to OpenAI, I actually send my company data out, and I will actually have a risk of putting critical information into the public web without actually really understanding what I'm doing. So my best advice to you is that if you are in a browser and you want to use AI capabilities, then you can start today by going to Microsoft Bing. So for the first time, maybe you're going to start using Bing, and you can click the Copilot. The Copilot is free for everyone in this web version. Look up here, I can have the web version and I can have the work version. Right now, I'm using the web version, but it actually tells me that I am commercial data protected. And that means that the data here is actually protected. So I'm not risking the same as using OpenAI actually. And here, of course, I can ask anything also about my project and have inspiration for my project. So it's just to use the AI capabilities as you know it. So feel free to try out the Copilot in Bing. But it's also important to say that if your company have a license model for Copilot, meaning that you pay a license to Microsoft for Copilot, you can switch on your browser into the work mode. And now Copilot will work for anything in my company context. So that could be recap my meeting with my manager from last week, or in my project participants, what did we discuss in the last meeting, was transcription, etc. So there is a free web version and there's the paid work version. And it actually works through the emails, everything. Some of you might also already know that Copilot is in your Office 365 and in your Microsoft Teams, because you actually have a Copilot icon in your Microsoft Teams. It's exactly the same Copilot as the one I'm showing you here, just in the browser context. So feel free to use AI in a more protected way for your company, data at least. Well, that was the introduction. The next thing is that many of you have Office 365. And when you have Office 365, many of you already have the possibility of using Microsoft Forms. And many of you have maybe tried to answer Microsoft Form. There will be some question and you fill it out. And if you have tried actually to create Microsoft Forms, then you know you need to put in a lot of questions. I will show you a very simple way that you can actually ask your project team members about feedback about something, actually using AI. So imagine that I'm a project manager, I have a project team, I'm about to send out a survey to my project participants, what they think of me as a project manager. So here with Copilot, I could actually draft the text for that. So please rate me as your project manager in the project we have executed the last 12 months, something. Now I will let Copilot, based on this prompt, actually create the questionnaire for it. So actually, I can let them put in the questions, and I can, based on the prompt, actually let Copilot inspire me with a lot of questions. So now it will create a lot of questions here about my strengths, etc. I can keep it, I can inspire, I can get more questions. And at some point, I think all those questions are good enough, or I will aid them. And then I could click up and collect the responses. So based on the prompt, it will be very easy for me to create it. And just think of you as a project team working with them or with your project stakeholders. Using Microsoft Forms and AI and Copilot will help you get a lot of feedback through Microsoft Forms without using a lot of time actually creating the questionnaire. So it's just an inspiration of using Microsoft Forms with Copilot. Another thing that could inspire you could be use of Office 365 whiteboards. Every time you have a project, you might end up with post-its somewhere. You might be in a workshop in your project, and why not let AI and Copilot help you creating a whiteboard? So you could use Microsoft Whiteboard in Office 365, and in this one, it will be possible for you to use Copilot and then say, create 20 ideas for a kick-off workshop for my IT project. Copilot will now, based on the prompt, actually create some post-it. And if I like, now I have 12, then I could create even more. And actually, based on, let's say we'll stop at the 24, I will insert all my post-its, and my post-its will now be available actually for a categorization or even further. And then I could let the project team members read those, and then we could create them, and they could create their own post-its in here. But at some point, I would like to categorize them. So I could actually let Copilot categorize all my post-its. So once you have collected all the feedback from all the teams, actually Copilot will start categorize them. And now it came up with 3 categorization: team activities, project management, skill development. And now everyone is happy, and we can then start work on those activities. I could maybe even start adding them to a project schedule at some point. You could use the loop components. The loop components is actually creating tasks directly in a task list or as a checklist. And you can even copy this object and put it into a Microsoft email. And if you receive the email and I will change in my whiteboard and add another post-it as an object, it will update the email. So the email will always be updated with all the post-its, even if I create them after sending the email. That's some of the strengths about working with the loop components and the whiteboard. So feel inspired to use whiteboard and Copilot in your project work together with project teams or project stakeholders. Okay, now let's jump into the project management piece, and let's jump out of Office 365 and let's jump into the Projectum Power PPM. Because in Projectum Power PPM, I could start using the Projectum Power PPM to help me as a project manager. Well, just before in the slide deck, I discussed 2 different nature of project. The more agile project manager approach. I'm a product manager, project manager for a digital software development project or product. And I'm gonna have an agile tool like Jira to support me, or Microsoft DevOps to support me with the execution of the project. So the first use case I'm going to show is the more agile flavored approach. First of all, in Power PPM, I can look at all products that are available in my company. Well, this is a demo environment, and the demo environment where I can see different products. And yes, this is reflecting Projectum, and in Projectum we have Power PPM. It's actually the tool we're looking at right now. And the Power PPM is a product. And Simon is the owner. Call him a project manager, call him a product owner, but basically the duty is the same. And Simon has an overview that he has 62 different epics going on for his product, and there are 46 features happening in Microsoft DevOps. So based on an epic board, he will be able to monitor all the epics, all the new features that are available for his product, and he can run it through the funneling of the system. So that means that if he create a new epic, it could be the super AI finance module that we're going to add to Power PPM. He can drag it through to the review process, into the analyzing process. At any given time, he can double click and he can open up the epic and he can put in a time box of 200 hours. Maybe he'll put in a start and end date. Maybe he'll assign it to a team beta that is a fixed team. And it could maybe start calculating a return of investment for that Power PPM component. There will also be a link to a release plan, because in Projectum we release 4 times a year, new version. So he will immediately link this release into the big Wave 4 release of 2024. It will launch end 2024. So based on this information, it will be possible when he drag it into the portfolio backlog. At this point where he drag it into the portfolio backlog, he will add the work to the Agile teams that is not working in Power PPM. They will be working in Microsoft DevOps. When I double click in here and I look at the feature list, there's no features running right now. Of course, the product owner or project manager could create features. But at this point, if we scroll down, you'll be able to see that the system has automatically created a link to Microsoft DevOps. And in Microsoft DevOps, it has created this super AI finance module epic. And if I drill down to this epic, down here, let's see where it is, like this, there's no features, but I can see the capturing of 200 hours of effort, because the data I typed into Power PPM is automatically transferred so that the project manager or product owner should not maintain 2 different systems. There's also a business priority, etc. But the great idea here is now, as an Agile team, we will start creating a feature 1, UI experience. That's the first feature. And maybe we will get a date starting now, and maybe we will set a date around this. Now the Agile team, they will say we will spend 100 hours of this, save and close, and now the features has been created in the Agile team. As a project manager, I really don't care about the breakdown down here, because it's maybe handled by a Scrum Master that's not me. Maybe it's handled by a senior person that is actually working on the details. But I would like this kind of data to be synchronized back. So actually, as an Agile team, they can create different features, log off, and once they start the work in the Agile tool, they will go in and maybe update it and tell this is in progress, and this one is not in progress, or they may even start this work. Once they start the work in the Agile tool, the tools will synchronize back into Power PPM. So at this point in Power PPM, and I'll just refresh the screen, I will go in, I will follow up on my Super AI module. By double-clicking the Super AI module, once the synchronization has been executed, now you can see I have already received the feature 1 in here. If I open up the feature 1, I can see all the data, and I can even see the 100 hours that the Agile team has taken out of the 200 hours and actually reserved those hours to develop this feature out of the, so half of the time. So data will flow seamlessly back between the project system and actually the Agile tool. That might be Jira, or it might be Microsoft DevOps. Now feature 2 has also been synchronized. So based on this, it would be possible now for the Agile project manager to look at a roadmap, And if I scroll down through my roadmap, I can see all the features and the epics that is going on right now on my product. So the product owner can have an overview of the timing of each activity in here, and there will also be the drill down to the features and the timing of the features. So real-time data between two systems will support it, make it very, very easy. So that was an example of working with Agile digital product management as a project manager, where I will work in one tool, create epics, send it off to Agile team, and the Agile team will work in some other tool. All this data will flow automatically back into the product roadmap. So if I'm at a company level and I care about the wave releases across products or across project manager, then I will be able to go into the wave 4 and see the Super AI Finance module and see that user experience. And just 2 minutes ago, the feature was created in an Agile tool, and now it's available for reporting on company level, meaning you as a project manager, you should not communicate. You should just secure that data is there, and then data will start flow up all the way to portfolio and strategy level. That makes it very, very easy for a project manager to manage a project without actually managing also the communication and sending off a lot of reports and statuses. It's all about defining in Power PPM the right reports. So let's conclude on the agile flavored project management, and let's go to Power PPM. And in Power PPM, we're going to look at the more traditional kind of project management. Well, right now I'm in Power PPM, and as a project manager, I have the authorization to create projects. So I can go into my Virtual PMO assistant. As a project manager, I can create the assistant, and I could start using this chat to support me in my project management efforts. Maybe I'll create a project or ideas. Maybe I'll create a status report for my project. So just imagine that you are the project manager for the Accelerated Growth project, and with one click directly in the chat, it will start wrap up all the information needed based on the template that we have defined in our company. So I don't need to create a status report. Everyone that wants something about my project and the performance, they can go into the chat and create the status report instead of me as a project manager sending it. Of course, I need to secure the data is up to date. But that's the whole idea by having an IT system. You could also go into ChatGPT and in a controlled manner start asking ChatGPT about questions. What is the PMI methodology, etc. So let's start creating a project that we will use for this demo. So I will greet my chat. I will go in. I will create a project, and I will call it Project Management Webinar 1. The chat will ask me about all the questions. So right now, the description of my project is IT infrastructure project to install 20 new routers somewhere. The chat will ask me of all the necessary data to create the project. It could be start date, end date, categorization of the project. Once the chat has asked the question, it will create the project, and I will be at the front page of my project. So right now you're looking at Power PPM. You're looking at the front page for my project. It has been created by the chatbot, and I'm ready as a project manager to start managing my project. I have a stage gate model, and I can move my project through the life cycle of the stage gate model. The stage gate model could be different by project nature, but right now I'm in the planning mode, and I will expect my project to start now and close down in December. I will go for the gate decision. So right now my project has been set up to have a start and finish date, and the start and finish date is what I have been agreed with the portfolio office. This is my start and end date. It has nothing to do with my project schedule. It will come later. Well, we talked about the AI use case of lessons learned based on the data on my project. And right now you see in the data here, an infrastructure project installed 20 new routers somewhere. It is an operation project. It is a pipeline template. The project is active, and I already have some expected benefit based on the data that I provide. And of course, if I provide a lot of data, the lessons learned AI engine could learn better. But this is a demo. This is few data, but it's looking through the register of lessons learned. So in Power PPM, it's also possible to put in all the lessons learned that you capture throughout the project as they close or as they are running. And right now, AI has written a suggestion with 3 different learnings. I could look into those projects and I could learn from those projects because here implementing a root backup strategy to be implemented to safeguard against data loss during installation, blah, 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 to the routers. So you can see based on the prompting that's behind the scenes, but also my data set, it actually support me directly. And if you want to know where the lessons learned are, I could just quickly show you in the back end of the system. I have a register in here where I will put in my lessons learned. And I don't find it. It doesn't really matter. Let's just go back. But basically, it's just a list of all the lessons learned. Here I have it, lessons learned. This is the list of all lessons learned. So every project manager will maintain lessons learned throughout the project lifecycle, and it actually read through those based on the categorization and the nature of the projects. So this is the use case of AI where the project manager could be supported. I can also link my project into a portfolio. Let's just link it into the portfolio 24-25. And right now my budget is 0 because I've not even started. Now, some of the first thing that's really important for project managers is easily creation of a project schedule. In Power PPM, we have created a very intuitive way to create project schedules. Either you start from very scratch, you start from AI, or you start from templates. Imagine that all projects that has some kind of structure and we do them again and again. It could be like opening a new store. We can create templates in here where you simply just import a template and then your project schedule is based on the template. But today we're going to start with AI just to show you the AI capabilities of the project manager. That means that if you prompt in, create a project schedule for an IT project following the PMI methodology, use stages, phases, and milestone, start date today. Whatever you prompt, we can now generate a project schedule based on that prompting. And in less than 1 minute, right now we're using a 4.0 AI engine. It's a little slower right now, but it's actually a better output. We could also use a 3.5 AI engine, and then it will be some faster, but the output will actually not be that great. So live, I can, because I'm a PMI certified project manager, so I can immediately see that this is actually the initiation, monitor and control is actually those tasks. And it also put in some PMI, like you see the project management plan, it's a PMI thing. And in the execution, I can see IT infrastructure procurement. So it definitely knows it's an infrastructure project and I can install them. And now as a project manager, I can do all the things by having dependencies, I can have the task, etc. And I can also see that the project started today. Or in this case, actually, I can see it did not start. It started in 23. So the prompting did not get the start date. What I'm doing right now, I'm just moving my project in between the start and the finish stage with orange, because that was the portfolio start and finish date. And as long my project is within these boundaries, there's no issues. If my project go beyond, it will turn red, and the system and Power PPM will tell me as a project manager, you are not within your agreed start and finish date. So the scheduling tool actually helps you this way. So this was the project management scheduling. Now, we could also go to the level of financials. Every time I have a business case, as a project manager, I need to maintain business case. So I could map software to software in SAP, hardware to hardware, or equipment, buildings to other, internal hours to internal labor. This mapping can be done by by template, or it can be done individual by project. But in this case, I can start as a project manager to type in any budget, an estimate to complete. It will calculate an estimate at completion. And this way, it will be possible and very easy, as you see, actually to maintain my budget and my forecast in the project. Well, once my project is running with a budget and actual, it will also be possible for me to import actuals from SAP. We can make a connector to SAP if that is the line of business system that you have, and this way we can import actuals. So by looking at this project, I can set up the project to be synchronized with SAP, and once the synchronization is done, it can run every night, every now and then, you'll see the actual column here is now updated with financials. And that means that I both have budget, etc., and also the actual, and then I can revise my estimate at completion as a project manager. Talking about the risk management, I can let AI help me as a project manager to create risks. I can ask it to create 10 risks related to IT infrastructure project. And again, AI will look through risk in my company that has happened before. It could also look to OpenAI and import risk from outside. In this case, I've been looking outside and I can see that data breach is one of them. If I don't agree with the assessment, I can easily drag around and actually reassess all my risks that AI actually supported. And of course, I can also just go down here and create my own new risks. Then we will look at reporting. In the reporting, it will be possible for me as a project manager to have AI support me in the reporting. So on the front page, I can let AI write a status report for me. So based on the data, now we have actual hours, we have some tasks, we have milestones, we have maybe even progress in our project, we have the benefit. Right now, you can see that AI just wrote me an executive summary based on this prompt. So I could even change the prompt to say, focusing on financials. And now it actually has been written with all the metadata. And of course, I can go in and then add something in here. But the great thing here is that if I want to communicate this to my steering group, I can go in and say, today we have this. Everything is red in my project, so it's not really good. And the system will track this status. Now I can activate PowerPoint. So based on your PowerPoint template, I can create a PowerPoint report with your template in your company, with your company color, with the structure. Maybe you have a one-pager with 5 pages. Then this is how it is. And in less than 1 minute, we will take all the data from your project, the AI-written status report, and we will import that into the PowerPoint. We will save it on Microsoft Teams. And as it does Microsoft Teams, it will be able to download it. So just in a second here, I will be able to download the report. Where did it go? We had it here. So now I have Project Management Webinar 1, created live with today's date. I have everything in red. I have even the AI status written here to the left. I have all my finance data. I have the milestones from my plan. I have the risk. I have a page with the details of the risk. I have money, actuals imported from SAP, progress, S-curve, whatever that you actually need in your one-pager. So very, very easy for a project manager to be supported to create nice reporting. And then I think the time is about to be up. And one of the last thing that that could be fun to just show you is the meetings and the Microsoft Teams. So I can go in, I can select a Microsoft Team meeting from this week where we discussed the PPM. This is a workshop for my project. And it runs through all the transcription, and it will automatically now identify the risks, the changes we discussed, and maybe even a task. If I hit the import button now, AI will import all the risk into my risk register. So now you'll see a risk register with more risks that actually was discussed directly in that workshop. Budget cuts, right? That was discussed in workshops. Now I can kill that risk. I can move it around with a different assessment. So just recapping, project management is difficult. It's difficult to manage projects, but I think I have proven today that with Power PPM and the AI capabilities that is available right now in Office 365 and in Power PPM, you should be supported so that the tool will not be an obstacle for you, but actually support you. So thank you for joining the webinar, and I'll just look through if there's any questions. There's no questions, so I will just leave it here and say thank you for participating. The recording will be available. Marketing will ship it out, and feel free to reach out to Projectum if you want a one-to-one demo, maybe more in context of your company. Then we could do exactly a session just like this to inspire project managers in your company. So thank you for joining, and see you on the next one. Thank you.